I'm your host, Dr. Jane Mountrose, and I'm here with my friend and co host, Gretchen Comer. So happy. It's been a while. We're both spiritual guides, spiritual coaches, healers, and more. Both of us having our unique qualities. And with Awakenings Institute, we share a devotion to creating a more loving world, which is one of the focuses here in the Circle of Love and Light. So today, our focus is on the many blessings of being present. With today being Easter, we also have an opportunity to be present to the deeper meaning of the holiday. And on a larger scale, every day of the year brings an opportunity for us to be present to the blessings that are there in the day itself, in the moment itself. We talk a lot in the circle about where we are in lunar phases and seasons and all of these things that have a lot to do with what's happening to us in the moment. So anyhow, the joy and ease that can emerge from being in the present moment, as with cooperating with the different seasons and lunar phases and things that are impacting us, has many benefits for our bodies, emotions, mind, and spirit, our health on all levels, our sense of being alive, so many things. And the challenge is getting there. I think almost anyone would agree, well, gee, it's great to go out and experience the oneness of nature or whatever. And it's a great way to do that, to bring yourself into the moment. But how can we just do it? If we wake up and say, I'm in this momentum, I'm not feeling comfortable. How can I just be in the moment? So we're going to discuss the obstacles and opportunities that lie before us. Also, we'll have an oracle reading, as we often do, and a special meditation to reach into being in the present moment and reaping the rewards more in our lives. So before we begin, I want to thank you, as always, for joining us and being an emissary of love and light for the world, which reminds me, I want to put up where are we here? Put up the chat. So if you're here, please say hello. And if you're new, let us know where you're from. And whoever you are, feel free to comment, ask questions, participate. We love to connect with you on a personal level. So again, welcome. And we're going to do now something that we actually always do, which is to come together and just breathe a few nice breaths that will bring us more into our bodies. And this is actually one of the first things that you can consider as a great thing to do. I'm sure we'll be talking about that more. And for now, something I like to do is just imagine the universe supporting me and breathing in the most beautiful light possible. If you're in a place where it's safe, you might want to close your eyes just for a moment and focus on your body, feeling the breath moving in and out, breathing in love and light from the universe. It can be peace, harmony, whatever you want. It'll support you. And then exhaling anything that you don't need in the moment. Tension, fear, whatever. Just being in your body. And as a note, if it helps you to imagine yourself being in nature as you do this, that's a great thing. Just breathing in that oneness of nature. Wonderful. Okay, so with that, I'd like to turn to you, Gretchen, and ask you to start us off. We have a lot here with Easter. Talk a little bit. I know you have a good understanding of Easter, the meaning of Easter and all of that, and then we can relate that to being present in our lives.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jane. So what's interesting about Easter is, thousands of years ago in ancient times, it was closely associated with the spring equinox, which we just had pass last week. And so it's a beautiful time to bring in some of that energy that we're feeling really tangibly too. We can see it really vibrant around us. If you live in a temperate climate in the Northern Hemisphere, you can see, trees blooming, flowers blooming, things that only bloom in the spring. There's this buzz, this activity of energy, and it really is a time of renewal. So Easter essentially has also become a time of renewal. It's a renewal of Jesus awakening, after 3 days and rising and ascending. It's also closely associated originally from an Anglo-Saxon and Celtic goddess, Esther, Eostre. So it's Germanic, it's Anglo-Saxon, it's also Celtic. And she was often known as, Esther was known as the goddess of the spring. It's where we get the term Easter from. And so it's also closely related with rabbits, ironically. Rabbits are one of the first animals in the springtime that actually have babies. And so there are others. There are sheep are often mating early on. Cows are mating early on. But bunnies were something that was also a food source. So in ancient times, it was highly revered to keep rabbits or to have rabbits around. They're often a sign of fertility, which is fertility not just of the body, but of the mind and of the spirit. So that renewal energy that comes in at Easter is really about fertility of the mind and of the spirit as well. That's really important associations. And of course, it's a time of new beginnings. This is when we see baby animals being born. So it really did mean fertility of the body as well. And Easter is also associated with the term estrus, where we get the term the estrus cycle, which is what a lot of animals, operate on in their mating season. And so it's a normal time in nature to be spring cleaning too. So it's interesting that we spring clean as humans. We often feel compelled to do that. Well, that's also aligned with the natural rhythms of nature, because a lot of animals will clean their dens. They will make new dens for the new slew of babies that they're having. They will make, birds will make new nests. And a lot of repair work is done on animals' homes at this time of year. So it's natural that we would feel too wanting to get rid of those things that are kind of our old winter self, shed that, bring in new energy into our lives, into our homes. And so it's a wonderful time for active energy too. This is a really joyful time. And to ancient people, to see the return of the spring meant that life would continue. So that was good. That meant plants would grow, they would have food, they would have their harvest in the fall. That was all very important to life and to survival. And
It
so
still
when
is.
right, exactly.
We're removed
I mean,
from
we
it,
can
but
grow
it
things
still
year
is.
round, when we get things from different
Right.
parts of the world year round.
Yeah.
But it was such a celebratory time, and we can feel that, we can tune into that just by going out in nature, just by witnessing, we can watch birds building their nests, we can see bees, we can see everybody busy at work out in nature, and it kind of gives us that little bit of extra energy as well, that little boost of energy. So it's really tangible. You can really feel it in your body with the spring energy. So
Yeah.
it's really fascinating to me, we're still celebrating this. And it makes so much sense that we want to do these things. We feel compelled to do certain things in the springtime, like cleaning, because it's a natural rhythm. It's something that's being done behind the scenes in nature right now as it is. So I think it's a really beautiful time just to align with that energy. And as we've talked before in the circle of love and light, life is so much easier when you align with the natural rhythms,
Right. Right. In the
and it does
flow, that you're
in the
in the
flow,
flow with
right?
life. Right.
Absolutely. And so if we're in the flow, then we are in the present moment too. So that kind of ties in with our other topic today. And I think that's important to recognize too, because when we are in that flow and we're following the natural rhythms, we can stay more in the present moment. We're not being pulled into the past. We're not being pulled, what's going to happen in the future. Right now, this is a vibrant time to be alive. It's a vibrant time to tune into that energy. So I think it's a great time to really align with the present moment. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it is something that when we're in those momentums and when we're in feeling fearful or stressed or like we have to rush, which is such a common thing in society now, rushing or rushing around. And it's interesting, Philip and I, we haven't actually had a job for more than 20, 25 years or so now, quite a while. And it's been great. We'll go out sometimes at rush hour in the morning, and Philip will say, "What are all these cars?" It's kind of like, what is happening out here? It's rush hour, Philip. People are rushing around trying to get somewhere. And actually, in those times, if there's something we can focus on that allows us to easily be in the moment, like I'm in the flow with joy and ease, like just saying to yourself, okay, I need to get somewhere quickly. I still can be in the flow with joy and ease, and then start breathing. Just breathing. I'm in the flow with joy and ease. And actually, it's a great thing to do in traffic anyhow, being in the flow. Because one of the things you might notice at rush hours, people are cutting each other off, and they're not being very polite. And
no,
and really, I think in terms of societal advancement or human advancement, the idea of driving and being in the flow with traffic is like a lesson for us. Because now we're compared with 100 years ago, or when I don't know how fast people were moving in cars at that point, not very fast. We're running, rushing down the freeway at 70 miles an hour or something. And it's being in the flow is actually, it's almost like a necessity to stay alive. You have to be in the flow with the traffic. And I think that having a positive perspective on it, like, well, the benefit now, if I just breathe and I'm in the moment, I can be in that state of flow, which really feels good. And that's where you get into the part, like, this is good for your body. It's good for your emotions. It's good for your mind. It's good for your spirit. Just opening your heart. And even if other people are rushing around, cutting you off or whatever, you can just love them and be compassionate towards them, because they're not rushing around because they feel it's a choice. They feel that they have to.
Right.
Which is where that momentum, and it's almost, sometimes I think of that idea of being in the moment or being in a momentum. They don't realize they have a choice.
Right. It's like we're trying to be the calm in that chaos, or the calm in the middle of the storm, while it's all going on around us, is just staying centered in that place in yourself that's peaceful and calm. You don't have to get sucked into that energy that everybody else is feeling, essentially. So
Right. But that requires that you open, you bring in that state of presence. You reach into something deeper within your being than the vibration that is floating around you, because that rush hour energy is vibrating, to us.
Right.
So that's why just breathing, just opening to the universe and breathing love, breathing harmony, breathing a sense of peace, flow, joy, all of those things are so helpful.
Right. I agree. I think breath is very important. I feel like it's the one thing that can help bring me back to the present moment when I'm pulled out of it. So just focusing on the breath. If you feel like yourself's wandering out, you can just bring everything back in with the breath, and just focus on that, and just have that be the few moments you spend with yourself. Just the breathing we do at the beginning of the circle of love and light, I feel different just in those few moments that we do it. We don't have to do it for 20 minutes. We just do it for a few. It's very quick and easy. And it gives us that opportunity, because the present moment is where life is happening. That life is happening right now in the present moment. It's not happening in the future. It's not happening in the past. So if we can bring that back with the breath, it can be really beneficial to us, and so simple to do.
Yeah. It's an amazing, I guess, secret in a way, because we're always breathing. It's really just bringing attention to it. And what it does is it brings our awareness more into our bodies and out of this, out of all of that chatter, like, oh, you have to get there. Which way are you going to go now? You better turn here. Oh, watch that person there. They're not being polite,
Right.
Just flow. I'm in the flow. And I love driving like that. It's interesting. Sometimes I drive through the Los Angeles area, which to me is this incredible experience. It's hours of being in traffic, four or five lanes on each side of the highway and people all over the place. And I just focus on being in the flow. And somehow, more than I would expect, I find myself in a place where there's a lot of traffic ahead of me and there's a lot of traffic behind me, but I'm in this place where there's no one around me. And because I'm focusing on being in the flow, and I'll just monitor my speed so that I can stay in that little space as long as possible. It just reminds me that our intention is more powerful than we realize too.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If you focus on being in the flow with the traffic, you might be surprised how different the experience is.
Right. And how easily it can shift our reality as we're perceiving it. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I think that's an important point to bring up.
Right. So, yeah. I have a couple quotes that I thought of. One is this one I love from Kung Fu Panda. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it is called the present. Yeah. And if we can see this moment is a gift.
Right.
If we're here for it.
Right.
In a way, if we're in a momentum, whatever it is, in fear or whatever, we're not in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's pretty simple. And then there's another one I like, C.S. Lewis. The present is a point at which time touches eternity.
Ooh, that's nice.
It's like, well, you're out of time in a way. It's like you're being in the flow. It's like you're in a different space than in that momentum that most people are in.
Right, right. Yeah, there's it's not always easy. I mean, we can't perpetually stay in the present moment. I mean, it would be very difficult on some level. Mm-hmm. We would not be able to reflect on our past if we were always in the present moment. We would not be able to plan for the future if we were always in the present moment. So there's going to be times where we're not able to do that because it's just not realistic. But if we can live more in the present moment, there's so much more ease. There's so much more flow to what we're doing. And we talked about breathing. I think breath is one of the best ways to bring yourself back to the present moment. And of course, gratitude for me is a good one too. If I feel like I'm starting to go spinning out in this momentum that maybe isn't very positive, I can bring some of that back to my breath and just say thank you for this moment right now, and that helps kind of bring all my energy back to a center point where I can start again, doing whatever I was doing. So that helps a lot too. And I find that nature, you mentioned earlier, being in nature is really helpful. I think that's one of the easiest ways. If you're not somebody that meditates, you're not into doing breath work, that's fine. Go out into nature. In nature, we have to be aware of our surroundings. So it forces you on some level to be in the present moment so that you're not tripping over things on the ground and hitting your head on branches on trees and, things like that. You have to be in your body in the present moment when you're in nature most of the time until you find a place to sit down and reflect. But while you're walking and moving through nature, it's a really good way to practice being in the present moment. Because you have to for safety's sake. And I think it's a beautiful, free way that we can take advantage of to be in the present moment. So I find that it's a good place to practice being in the present moment if you're not somebody that really practices and aware of being in the present moment, to just go out in nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's balancing in itself too. Philip and I went out yesterday morning. He usually on Saturday in the morning, he usually plays tennis. Yesterday, it was kind of an odd day. There was rain coming and going, and apparently where the tennis courts were, which is a little ways from where we are, it was raining. It wasn't raining in our house, though it was sunny. So we decided we would go to a park that's nearby. It's a large park with all kinds of trees and like really beautiful, mature trees. And we went there and just walked peacefully around, and then we went and we leaned against one of the large mature pine trees, and trees it's kind of hard to explain exactly, but they slow us down. They
Mhm.
experience time in a different way than we do.
Mhm.
And if you come into contact with a tree, either you can be within its, the shade of its branches, or touching the trunk of the tree, leaning against the trunk of the tree, or sitting against the trunk of the tree. Um, Things do just settle. At least that's my experience. And I know you love nature and trees also.
Yeah. Mm.
And it almost does it for you, like, just especially if you, I think, leaning against a tree, or people talk about
Mhm.
tree hugging, you can go
Mhm.
lean with
Mhm.
your back against the tree or hug the tree, however you want to do it. um it's a beautiful experience.
Yeah, it really is. I like to sit at the base and lean up against the trunk, so that it's at my
Right.
back and
Mm-hmm.
look up into the branches.
Yeah.
But it kind of forces you to slow down. And once you really tune into the energy of the tree, it's very calming. It really does kind of
Right.
ground you and bring you back down to, you don't need to rush right now. Just
Mm-hmm.
breathe, just be, just
Right.
breathe. It's
Right. I think you froze.
beautiful. That's an easy way to really be in the present moment too.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. It actually is conducive to it. In other words, we're in a space generally that is not conducive to it. This is a place that is conducive to it. And it's interesting. I think if you really get into trees, different kinds of trees and different individual trees have different vibrations too, and you can
Mhm.
feel. It's interesting. We have a lemon tree out in the back, and it's just joyful and light, kind of. And outside of here, I talk a lot about our birch tree. We have several of them. This beautiful, beautiful birch tree that just is very profound and grounding and nurturing. They're different.
They
And
really
that's
are.
something to
Yeah.
observe too. Open to your intuition. Like, you experience the world in a different way
Mm,
through them. I think it's beautiful.
yeah.
Oh, Babs is here. She says,
Hey,
hello,
Babs.
loves. Happy Sunday. Happy spring. Happy Easter for those celebrating. Thank you,
Hi,
Babs.
Babs.
Yeah.
Mm.
We were going to draw a card. Would you like to draw? We thought we would draw a card from the major arcana of the Angel Wisdom Tarot, to have an archangel, to join us in our meditation on being present, see who shows up, and with a message from the major arcana.
Oh, okay. So I chose the High Priestess,
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful one.
and this is Haniel. So this is an H for
Mm-hmm.
Haniel.
Hi, Neil.
Mhm. So this
Wonderful.
is, it says meditate and turn inward to discover your soul's true desire. Develop your intuitive gifts and trust the wisdom you receive. This is not the time for action. This is a time for going within. That's beautiful. Would you
Yeah,
like me to
perfect.
read some
Can
more
can you
about
show
that?
the card again?
Sure.
I'm curious. Yeah. It's interesting, in the Rider Waite, the traditional one, there are two pillars, and then there, behind the priestess, there's a veil. And this one has maybe similar connotations, but the idea is
Right,
that
with the
the
two
high
pillars.
priestess
Yes.
has the ability to pierce the veil between this reality and a higher reality,
Mm-hmm.
which
I
is what
think,
we're talking
right.
about too, I
I
think.
think the inclusion of the stars and kind of the space
Right.
scene behind the green grass and whatnot kind of gives you that illusion too. The two
Mm-hmm.
pillars, and on the pillars, which I don't think you can see real clearly, there's one here and there's one here, and that
Right.
is the yin yang. So it's about
Right.
balance. Yeah.
Right.
Balance, the divine
Yeah.
feminine, divine masculine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So being in that place of balance, and then opening to, I love, personally, I love um, the concept of portals
Mm.
that we
Mhm.
have within life. There are all these opportunities to go through a portal into a different way of perceiving reality,
Mhm.
which is, and the high
Right.
priestess invites us to do that. Yeah, go ahead and read a little more. That's a
So
really beautiful
it really is.
one to
This
have.
says Archangel Haniel is known for her ability to help you access your divine gifts. Her open book, which you can see depicted in the card, she's an open book on her lap, indicates that knowledge once kept secret is now available to all. That's lovely. I think that's happened for so long, things that were only certain people could know. I feel like knowledge should be free. This one, it says it's a time to contemplate, meditate inward, and reflect on what you really desire. The high priestess is one who can help you get to that understanding. It's a card of intuition and psychic gifts of clarity that come from inner searching and communing with the divine. And the high priestess encourages you to trust yourself and the intuitive information you are receiving. The messages and signs you feel you are getting are accurate. You aren't crazy, it says. It isn't necessary to take action right now. In fact, it's best that you don't. So it really is about taking that time to go within, to center yourself, to be in the present moment. I think that's a beautiful reflection of what we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And if you look at it in relation to portals, it is, I think, to be able to move through a portal from our reality. We're talking about if we're in the flow with joy and ease, we have gone through a portal into a different reality than we're seeing around us.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a reality where there are more possibilities also, which is really fascinating.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful that we
This
received
card is really beautiful too, because I didn't notice this before, but there is a picture right here sitting on one of the pillars, and there is a box on the other pillar, but she's also holding an apple. And an apple in many cultures means wisdom. An apple is often associated with wisdom. And it's often associated with the elements, because when you cut an apple in half, you can actually, a certain way, you can actually see the star pattern in the center of the apple, which is the five-pointed star, which is representative of the four elements plus our spirit. So it's a really beautiful. And then there's also water cascading down from her beautiful gown. That's kind of like, it goes from her gown into water, and it's cascading down
like a waterfall.
like a waterfall. So yeah, that's like the flow, it's really beautiful.
Being in the flow. Yeah.
Lots of symbolism
Yeah,
in these cards.
there's also a comet in the sky.
Right,
I thought
there
that was really beautiful.
is.
There's
Right,
so much there.
Yeah, there really is in this particular card. There's always so many.
The moon.
Yep, the moon as well. And the moon here is actually is waning. So that's interesting. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, turning within.
Right.
Or no, that's waxing. Waning.
No,
that's
right.
right.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
Yeah.
waning. I don't know. I still get those in my mind. Wait a minute.
That's right.
Right. It is. We're moving more within, and
Right.
and that's one of the things about the flow through the lunar phases, that if we can be in the flow with where the moon is, we can understand how we're feeling better.
Right.
Understand better how we're feeling, not feeling better.
Right. And the moon is now waning right now. We're in the waning phase right now of the moon. So full moon was last week.
Yeah. So things are kind of settling a little bit. When we're in the full moon, it's like things are blasting almost.
Right. Especially as we build towards it.
Last one. Yeah.
Yeah. As we're building towards it, it gets a little frenetic. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, yeah. Exactly.
Then we have an opportunity to calm down and turn within. It's interesting also that mentioned Haniel helping us to access our divine gifts, which is part of it, allowing ourselves to be ourselves. And she is also associated with the development of intuition. So, and divine gifts are often tied into opening to our intuition, to a portion of reality that is always present, but that society in general denies.
Right.
Yeah. So it's actually just about the right time for meditation. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, just I love all the symbols that they have in this card, because I think it all ties in beautifully with what we're talking about today. We're talking about so much about the present moment, and the apple to me that she's holding in her hand also is representative of all of those beautiful things we have inside us. It's like the fruit of the culmination essentially of what we have available to us. So I think it's beautiful and what we're becoming. Right. She's a beautiful guide for today. Absolutely.
Yeah. And beautiful in terms of representing where we're going with the new age.
Right.
So I do want to share since I was talking about portals, and I have this. This is a card I drew from. There's this. It's called the Oracle Portals.
Mhm.
It's a wonderful, wonderful Oracle deck. This is the picture on the back of the cards,
Oh, I
which
love
I think is
that.
so beautiful. Just
That's
understanding
beautiful.
that idea that you can go into a portal, into light. And maybe that's what we'll do in our meditation. Just
Mm.
allow ourselves to really transverse and to move through that veil that is generally there. We don't see that
Mhm.
opportunity, but that opportunity is there for us. And the card I drew the other day is called Presence. Another, and it's just another representation of the portal.
Of the portal. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. It's the Oracle of portals. There are a lot of portals in it.
I guess that makes sense.
All right.
Wow,
And
another
I think
portal.
right. Yeah, it is, and this is the cover of it.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's really inspiring. I like this one, and what is the other one? The Oracle of what is the one? The Oracle of the Worlds. We have the
Hidden
one that
worlds. The
the
hidden
Hidden World.
worlds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a similar idea.
Hmm.
Um, both of those are wonderful decks. I like to draw a card from one of them in the evening when I
Hmm.
before I retire, just for something that I can focus on that is uplifting as I drift off. I keep
Yeah.
thinking I'm going to have a dream related to it, but I don't. I haven't. But
Yeah, those cards are amazing. I usually just pull one because I get so much
mhm.
information off of one
Right, they
card and
are
all the
right.
beautiful symbolism and imagery that they use. Yeah, it's profound. I keep that one out all day and come back to it. And I always see something different. A couple hours later, I
Mhm.
see something else. And so I feel like I can just pull one for the whole day. It's just beautiful.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
lots of
Yeah.
depth to them. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay, so with that, we're going to turn within now and see where it takes us. And this starts as usual with closing our eyes if you're in a place that's safe for doing that. And breathing. We're going to just focus on the breath, the most wonderful breath imaginable. Sometimes I know there are ways of, before I get into this, ways of people talk about breathing like you breathe in at a count of 6 and then you hold it for 3 and you exhale for 8 and then you hold it for 2. It to me that's so mental. It to me it's about being in the flow of divine breath and just opening to the most beautiful, wonderful breath of life. As you inhale a full breath, the in also represents embracing life fully. And then an exhale represents letting go fully, letting go of the things that are not serving you. So we embrace life with the inhale and just let go with the exhale. Again, bringing in the most beautiful light from the universe around you. We can invite Haniel to join us, supporting us. And she's often experienced as a turquoise color, which is interesting because turquoise is a color that's related to the New Age. Beautiful turquoise light, vibrant, sparkling light, or whatever it is for you when you invite Haniel to join you. Inviting her divine energy, her support, for allowing us to access our divine gifts, open to our intuition. Be in that place of the high priestess within. You can imagine yourself maybe on a throne. I, when I see myself in my meditations, I imagine myself on a selenite throne. It's because selenite is a stone is very balancing and enlightening, enlivening. So we're on a throne of light. And another thing, the angels come and they put a crown of light above my head. Maybe you would like one too, which balances above and below. And just feel yourself coming into harmony with who you really are, a beautiful, magnificent being with divine gifts to embrace for yourself and to offer to the world. It is your form of love to offer to the world. And of course, we can invite Haniel to support us in opening to this light within. And maybe looking before us and seeing that portal. It's framed maybe by an archway, framed in some way, and offering us the opportunity to move forward through it into more light for ourselves and for everyone. Into that place where our divine gifts are honored and nurtured, where we feel empowered to be who we really are. And we can recognize that everything that we bring from this perspective is a blessing, not only to ourselves, but to everyone and everything around us. And within that, we might also envision a more vibrant world on this side of the portal, the world that is coming into being. Many say that we're in a time where the earth is ascending and we have the choice of whether we want to go along or not. It's not a question of it happening, it's a questioning of where do we want to be? And when we allow ourselves to be in the flow with joy, with ease, with opportunity, with magic and miracles, life itself is a miracle and a miraculous blessing. And Hanyel seems to be validating that each of us is a blessing. We can just breathe in that light and recognize that we are blessings to the world. We have nothing that we need to apologize for when we allow ourselves to be who we really are. And we have everything to offer, our own unique gifts. And as you focus on that, it might feel like the light around you is even brighter. Allowing that light to penetrate all of the cells of your body, inviting it to enliven all of the cells. Doing that, it feels like my my body's tingling. The cells love light, they love love. All the way down into the atoms within the cells, allowing the light to flow through them freely. It's kind of like imagining that there's a breeze of light flowing through everything within us. And if there are places within your body that maybe you don't love or places that need healing, just invite that light to flow specifically there. And through your mind, through the brain, inviting it to be calm, to be creative, allow that creative force to flow through it and into your life. Of course, your heart opens with this kind of experience. Feel that light radiating out to the love that you hold. Gretchen, would you like to share what you're experiencing?
Sure. I actually have seen so much light in this meditation that it was hard for me to see definition of my surroundings. There was just felt like sunlight and light just pouring in. And as I envisioned the turquoise light, which is actually a light that I often associate with when I work with angels.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I always see it as turquoise or like a blue-green light.
Mm-hmm.
I could hear Heniel laughing. I felt like she was laughing and just joyous, like, doesn't that feel good? Isn't that
Right.
wonderful? You know, feeling that light. And then when we were talking, you were talking about an archway. I saw that whole entire archway made of selenite. So you were on your selenite throne, and I was walking towards the archway, and then suddenly it just all transformed into like a selenite wall with a selenite archway. And so the selenite itself is glowing. So it's like there's
Wow.
this inner glow of light. And so
Mm.
I'm really feeling a lot of light and warmth, and could really feel that in the cells of my body. And I feel like it's just it is, you know, lightening my spirit right now. I feel like there is the light coming in is lightening me.
Right.
That's what I just keep hearing. Just let it lighten you, you know, let
Mm-hmm.
it lighten you up a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. And I think that's good information for me, because I'm someone that can be very solemn and serious at times.
Mm. Yeah.
And when I probably need to lighten up a little more. And yeah,
You have
absolutely.
you have a friend in Hanyel.
Right.
Well,
Just
this is where
beautiful.
the archangels can make such a big difference because uh, when we invite them to support us in elevating our perspectives and opening to more light, that's a real blessing for us. And you can
It
allow that light to burn through any darkness that it can
mm.
penetrate.
That's what I was feeling as I was walking through that archway. I felt like there was a purpose for it being made of selenite, as if it were kind of removing all of that energy before I transitioned through the portal. It was you know,
Mm-hmm.
removing all of that heavier energy. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so much light that it's almost as if you are facing bright sunlight with your eyes closed. You know, you can see it through your thin eyelids, that kind of
Mm-hmm. Right.
corona of light. That's what it felt like, or feels like right now, is just so much light just on the other side of my closed eyes from being in
Mm-hmm.
this beautiful place.
Yeah, it feels great.
It does.
And this might be a time also to ask yourself, well, what can I tell myself as I breathe that makes it a desirable idea for me to just relax into the moment? Is it joy? Is it ease? Is it light? Is it love? Is it flow? Flow is generally a good thing
Mm.
because you're out of a place that is not flowing and into one that is, where there is so many more possibilities when we're in a flow.
Mm. When we're lighter, we can flow more easily too.
Right.
Mm.
And just remember, you're always breathing. It's it's just a matter of drawing your attention to it. You can see yourself driving and breathing in love, and light from the universe, from the angels who are around you. When you're at your desk working, if you work or whatever you're busy with during the day, and be breathing too, breathing intentionally. And I think part of the message here is settling into yourself, understanding
Mm.
that you're breathing and settling into yourself with with those divine gifts that Haniel is helping us to embrace. It reminds me again of the Kung Fu Panda, that the present is a gift. Any other insights before we return?
Oh, do we have to return?
Well, we can bring Haniel and all of the joy and
Mm.
flow with us. That's the
Just
thing. Nothing is stopping us
right, right.
other than ourselves.
I just feel like she's saying, come back. This is a place where you can always get an infusion of light. This is
Yeah, go through the portal.
right. This is a place where your energy can be cleansed and you can open up to more light. And yeah, it just feels warm and beautiful.
And embrace the high priestess within. This is an archetypal energy, so it has power to it. And maybe you can feel that now. I'm now embracing the high priestess within myself. It's not someone else, it's you. Oh, and if you're a male, you have a high priestess too. You have a magician, you have a high priestess. We all do. And with that, we can now bring our attention back into our seats where we're sitting, now deemed to be pure selenite. Just grounding yourself, feeling your feet touching the floor or the ground, grounding yourself to Mother Earth and sending love down to Mother Earth, receiving blessings of love back. Breathing in more active energy so you can come back to your normal waking state. If you want, you can stretch whatever feels right. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
I feel glowy.
Me too. That was beautiful. I love Hanya.
It was beautiful. Her energy is so gentle and sweet, and joyous. It felt very joyous. Yeah.
And strong at the same time, I think.
Absolutely.
This is a part of it, the idea of power. If you look at power from a higher perspective, it is really it is embracing yourself, being in your own power. Yeah. I just feel like breathing.
Yeah, and I strongly sense that the angels really love it when we do this. We're welcome in these places. We're invited and encouraged to be in these places with them. I think that's beautiful.
Right. All we have to do is ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think another thing, mentioning why we use oracles. Some people consider oracles to be kind of a pastime, a lower vibration. And they are what you intend them to be. And we intend them to be sacred gifts, and they are. I think having a deck of cards like the Angel Wisdom Tarot and being able to invite an angel. Maybe you don't know who to invite. You don't have to just draw a card. That was perfect. It just was so perfect.
Right. Absolutely. These are beautiful cards too. I mean, I always encourage people to get the Angel Wisdom Tarot. I think these are just incredible cards. Not that we're getting any kind of kickbacks from this.
No.
But it's just they're really profound cards, and I think they really can help develop a stronger relationship with the angelic realm.
And I think Radley Valentine, the creator of them, his goal is to create a gentler perspective on the tarot too, because if you look at the Rider-Waite, there's some with people with swords, and they're going through their bodies, and and it can be frightening, but it is none of it really I guess you could say in its essence is frightening or needs to be perceived even that way.
Right.
So it really is, it's such a gift to be able to have a tool like that. So there, Babs says, thanks so much for the meditation. It was lovely. Thank you. Yeah, and thank you for doing it. Anyone who's here, you are contributing light to the world. When you embrace light, you're radiating light.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not
So,
meant to be contained. It's meant
right,
to flow through us.
right. And it can't be contained. You can't say, I'm going to,
Right. Gotta hold
I'm
on to
going
the
to keep
light. Yeah.
it.
What kind of container would you put it in? Yeah, I mean,
Right. It's
yeah,
like a jar with fireflies in it or something.
right, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, which takes us to that time in the circle, that part of what we're doing with any topic that we discuss is we're building that love and light so that we can share it with the world. So this is the time I have my little planet. I can imagine surrounding the world with it. And if you think of what the world would be if everybody was vibrating love and light, if everybody was open to the kind of experience that we just had, how would how would people relate to each other? There would be no war. There couldn't be war because
Right,
people would be they would be supporting each other rather than battling each other.
right,
Bringing
right,
out, and this is the thing with divine gifts. We all have divine gifts.
right,
If we're wanting to stifle divine gifts of some people, we're really stifling our potential as a whole collectively.
right,
And
right.
why that just doesn't make any sense.
Right, absolutely. It's like holes in a bucket. You're not going to fix 3/4 of the holes in the bucket. You're going to fix all of them, you know? So if you see everybody as a hole in the bucket that needs to be, fixed, then that's it's a stretch of a metaphor, but you understand.
Well, if everybody is allowed to be their personal best, how could it not benefit the world? I just
Right,
can't
right.
see how it could not benefit the world.
Absolutely.
And that means there would be also less or no, why would anyone need to starve if we're all generous with each other? There are enough resources and funds within the world for everyone.
Hmm.
They're being hoarded now
Right, right,
as if it's necessary to hoard to prevent others from having what you have for
right,
those who have a lot, when actually if we can be in the flow with everything, everyone can be nurtured.
right,
It
right,
just, when I recognized that fully, what all of that meant, it just makes sense. It seems so practical to me. Like, why not do
right,
this?
right,
Why
exactly.
not
Yeah.
love one another? Of course, that's what Jesus said. You may not be a Christian, and that's okay. But it is to me such a foundational thing. Love one another.
Right.
And I know I'm talking to the choir here, but but I think it also for us to recognize each one of us makes a difference. Every light that becomes brighter brightens the light
Right.
that's surrounding all of us. So it
Absolutely.
is
Absolutely.
we are offering a gift to the world.
Right.
And
We
of
may
course,
think that we don't have an impact, but we do, you
yeah,
know?
right. Yeah. And it is very hard to see that. It's like,
Hmm.
well, with all these billions of people, who am I? Or
Hmm.
even why would an angel want to talk to me?
Right.
And
Right.
that's something I had to overcome myself. It's like, well, they do.
Right.
Just experience it. You'll
Right.
find out.
Right. I mean, I went through that too. I thought it was, completely restricted to religion. And because I was raised Catholic, but I don't follow Catholicism anymore, I thought the angels weren't for me. And I think a lot of people fall into
Hmm.
that little hole, and then you have to find your way out of it. But I
Hmm.
realized that they really transcend religion.
Right, right.
They
None of
really
this
do.
is about it's all none of it is about narrowing our perspective on our
Right.
spirituality. It's about actually broadening it out and realizing it's all one.
Right. You don't have to be a good Catholic to get your token to see the angel. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, yeah, I mean, there's some askew thinking that I had to go through to transform and
Mhm.
shift all of that. But
Right.
once I
Yeah.
did, it was profound.
Hmm.
It's absolutely profound to work with them and all of the beings of light, the ascended masters and all the other beings of light.
Hmm.
Absolutely profound. There's no way it could not change if you
Right.
work with
Yeah.
them.
If you
So,
open up. Yeah.
right.
Which reminds me, we want to be sure to thank Danielle.
Yes.
Just offer our great gratitude to her and to all the beings. There were others around us too.
Absolutely. they like the light too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they like the opportunity to support us if
Absolutely.
we're in a space where they can. That's what
Yeah.
they're waiting for in a way, kind of
Yeah.
like,
Well,
when are they
that's
going to wake up here?
right. That's what I was sensing at the beginning when I felt like Haniel was laughing. Like it was like, isn't it wonderful just to stand there and feel that beautiful turquoise light? And it's like, yeah,
Right.
that's wonderful, you know. She was just having a great time, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want more joy, I mean, whatever on something that would brighten you up, just ask for it. If you don't know who to ask, just ask the angels, please send me some joy, send me some magic.
Yeah,
They do.
absolutely.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah, so wonderful. So, Gretchen, would you like to share what's going on in your world and how people can connect with you?
Sure. I love connecting with people. You can reach out to me on my website, spiraljourney.net. I'm also here on Facebook under Gretchen Comer, or Spiral Journey Holistic Life Services is my page. I'm also on Instagram. So anybody that would like to talk or reach out, I'm happy to have you reach out to me. And on my website, I've got a page of free things that you can engage with. So please visit that and enjoy yourself.
Yep. Thank you. And I'm just looking at what I have here for things to mention. We just recently did a new blog post on connecting with the elements, which is very powerful. We talked about connecting with trees. There are ways to connect more with all of the elements. And I was thinking actually this morning, don't know, I guess I have a moment to say it, about the tarot and how in the minor arcana, the ace of each card is like, in the Rider Waite, it's like there's a hand holding out that element. It's like each element is a gift to us to use. So if you focus on how you can embrace the element of water or air, and just open to what these elements might want to communicate to you, it's profound. And anyhow, so we have a post on connecting with the elements, and you can find it at tinyurl.com/sp-guide. And we have the shortened URLs because ours are long. It's gettingthrough.org/spiritual/your-own or your no dash spiritual dash own dash spiritual dash guide. So tinyurl.com/sp-guide is is faster. And it's about spiritual guidance. So also, we invite you to join us more often in the circle. We love to have people join us. And of course, what we want to do is send more light and love out to the world. You can follow our page on Facebook at facebook.com/awakenings circle. You can share this video with your friends and spread the word. You can invite your friends to join you in the circle, and then you have something interesting to discuss, presumably. And then the last thing that we do every week is send that love and light that we have been collecting into the week forward. So just imagine your coming week extending out in front of you to the horizon, and just send that out. You can send it to your past too and let it flow out behind you. Just filling your whole timeline with love and light, potential possibility. And with that, invite you to have a wonderful week. I think that's our plan, right?
Absolutely.
See you next time.